Alright. Alright. No. No. Move! Go!
Now that Captain America Brave New World has introduced adamantium in a completely different way, the MCU finally has the perfect setup to pay off those She-Hulk references to Wolverine. This could be how he officially enters the MCU as one of its first mutants in a Logan 2 movie. So let's dive into everything we know about it. If the MCU is gearing up for a Logan 2 movie, they could take an exciting approach by introducing an older version of Wolverine played by someone like Karl Urban. Rumors have been swirling that Urban might step into the role of Old Man Logan in the MCU's main Avengers timeline, and honestly, that would be a fantastic casting choice. With Hugh Jackman seemingly wrapping up his run in Deadpool and Wolverine, the franchise might be looking for a fresh take on the character, and what better way than adapting the Old Man Logan storyline for the MCU? Plus, the breadcrumbs the MCU has already dropped. In She-Hulk Attorney at Law, there were subtle references to Wolverine. One of the most notable hints came when Jennifer Walters was browsing for new jobs, and an article on her screen mentioned a man with metal claws who recently fought in a bar brawl. This immediately called back to Wolverine's history of bar fights in both the comics and Fox's X-Men films. But here's where it gets even more interesting. She-Hulk is set in the main MCU timeline, Earth 616. So how does a Wolverine reference show up in the MCU before we've even officially met him? And then we have Deadpool and Wolverine. In that film, it shows him fighting in a bar, which could be a fun way to tie back into that She-Hulk article. However, the She-Hulk reference suggests that a Wolverine, perhaps a different one, already exists in the MCU's primary universe. If that's the case, then Marvel could be setting up Logan's introduction in a way that pays homage to the comics while giving us something new. So what storyline could Logan 2 follow if they bring an older Wolverine into the mix? The obvious choice would be Old Man Logan. In the comics, Old Man Logan takes place in a dystopian future where most superheroes have been wiped out, and the world is controlled by villains. Logan has aged, his healing factor has slowed, and he's trying to live a quiet life, having vowed never to pop his claws again. But of course, things don't stay peaceful for long. This storyline would fit well with the MCU, especially if they tie it into a world where heroes have fallen post-Avengers Secret Wars. Another possible story route is the death of Wolverine. This arc focuses on an aging Logan whose healing factor is failing, making him vulnerable in ways he never was before. It's a deeply personal and emotional journey, and if the MCU wants to explore Wolverine's final chapter in their universe, this could be the way to go. Karl Urban, with his rugged charm and ability to play intense, brooding characters, could absolutely sell the weight of a dying Wolverine coming to terms with his mortality. There's also the Wolverine the End storyline, which could serve as inspiration for a future MCU film. In this story, an elderly Logan lives in isolation until he's forced to confront the ghosts of his past. The MCU could adapt this by showing an older Wolverine dealing with a world where mutants are just beginning to emerge. It would allow Marvel to explore Wolverine's complicated past while setting up the X-Men's future in the franchise. But how would Logan 2 fit into the MCU? Well, given the multiversal shenanigans happening in Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel could use a version of Wolverine from an alternate timeline, like Old Man Logan, and bring him into the main Earth 616 timeline. This could be done through the Time Variance Authority or some multiversal event linked to Secret Wars. Another way to introduce an older Wolverine is through flashbacks. Imagine a story where the MCU's present-day heroes uncover Logan's past, maybe through records, memories, or even time travel. This would allow them to cast Karl Urban as Old Man Logan while also teasing the younger version of Wolverine who will eventually join the main timeline's X-Men. Regardless of the approach Marvel takes, it's clear that they're laying the groundwork for Wolverine's entrance into the MCU. The She-Hulk reference wasn't just a throwaway Easter egg, it could be a hint that Wolverine already exists in the main universe, waiting to be discovered. And with Deadpool and Wolverine coming up, we might get even more clues about how Marvel plans to use the character moving forward. Up until now, vibranium has been the most important metal in the MCU. However, Captain America Brave New World has finally introduced adamantium, and in a way that completely changes its origin. Instead of being a man-made alloy like in the comics, adamantium in the MCU is being mined from the corpse of the celestial Tiamat, as seen in Eternals. This shift makes adamantium a global resource that various nations are scrambling to claim, turning it into a major political and military asset. This change raises an interesting question. If adamantium is now widely available, does that make Wolverine less special? In the comics, one of the reasons Logan is so unique is that the Weapon X program had exclusive access to adamantium and used it to bond the metal to his skeleton. If adamantium becomes common in the MCU, it could lessen the significance of Wolverine's transformation. However, there's a way Marvel can still make him stand out. The director of Brave New World has confirmed that adamantium's introduction will eventually lead to the Weapon X program. While the metal itself might be accessible to many, the process of bonding it to a living being is something only a select few could survive. That's where Wolverine comes in. His healing factor makes him one of the only viable candidates for the procedure, ensuring that he remains one of the strongest and most dangerous mutants in the MCU. There's also the potential for a different version of Logan to appear in Logan 2. Rumors have been swirling that Karl Urban could play an older version of Logan in the MCU's main timeline. This would be a bold move, allowing Marvel to introduce a new actor for Wolverine while still keeping Hugh Jackman's version around in alternate timelines. If they go this route, we could see a story where an older, battle-hardened Wolverine emerges after years of hiding, perhaps due to the rise of the adamantium arms race and the resurgence of Weapon X. A Logan 2 movie in the MCU could take inspiration from the Old Man Logan storyline, but with modifications to fit the current MCU landscape. If adamantium is now a highly sought-after resource, governments and corporations might be conducting their own Weapon X experiments, leading to the rise of enhanced super soldiers. This could force Logan out of hiding, as he realizes that the world is being flooded with dangerous, unstable individuals who have undergone experiments similar to his own. Additionally, Logan 2 could tie into the larger X-Men introduction in the MCU. With mutants slowly being acknowledged, thanks to Ms. Marvel and Deadpool and Wolverine, it's possible that Logan's past could be uncovered, revealing that he has been around for much longer than people realize. Perhaps he was part of a secret government program that has remained hidden for decades, explaining why no one knew about him until now. Marvel has a tough job ahead in bringing Wolverine into the MCU in a way that feels fresh while maintaining his uniqueness. The introduction of adamantium from a Celestial is a major shift from the comics, but if handled well, it could make Logan's origin story even more compelling. Whether they go with Karl Urban as an older Logan or introduce a younger version for future films, there is no doubt that Wolverine's arrival is going to be a game-changer for the MCU. So what do you think? Would you like to see Logan 2 explore an Old Man Logan storyline, or should they take a completely different approach? And would you like to see Karl Urban as Old Man Logan in the MCU? And which storyline do you think they should adapt for Logan 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.